Hey, Spencer.
Yeah, Shane?
Do you know what I mean when I ask you the question, what is your Roman Empire?
Well, the Roman Empire, I mean, it's so long ago. The Colosseum, that kind of thing? Or is that what
No, it's like the thing that you like think about constantly, like all the time, because apparently like a bunch of dudes only ever think about the Roman Empire.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
we'll talk about our Roman empires. Well. So yeah, this was a trend that went around TikTok a while ago about people talking about their Roman empires. Just the thing that they obsess over, the thing that they think about constantly. Because apparently a bunch of dudes think about. Do you think about the Roman Empire?
No, I don't.
I never think about the Roman Empire
unless I'm watching a movie that takes place around the time of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
It's not really on my mind.
Yeah.
My favorite of those trends was Kate Siegel asking Mike Flanagan,
Yeah.
cold. He was like on his laptop, and she's like, "Mike, do you ever think about the Roman Empire?" And he's like, the Roman Empire? And then one of his kids is like, "I think about the Roman Empire," off screen, and he just goes. He's like confused.
Just completely.
It's a
off.
great video. Go find that one on Kate Siegel's TikTok.
But yeah, so this is something that we've talked about doing, and I have had something that I've been wanting to talk about in front of a group of people for quite a while.
Yeah.
I can talk about mine for a very long time. But with that in mind, I figured we could possibly start with yours, Spencer.
Yeah.
Do you have one? Do you have a couple?
I'm going to start with some recent ones. Some things from
okay.
movies from this year that I just haven't stopped thinking about
Yeah.
since I saw them.
Yeah.
Or things that I've like, have I never seen that happen before?
Yeah.
The most recent one is there is a shot in the movie Civil War
Yeah.
where they're like going through, it's not really a spoiler. They're going through a building, like clearing it.
Uh-huh.
And this guy, he's on the right side of the hallway and he's right-handed. So he's holding his rifle right-handed. And he's like, "You stay back." And he like, as he's saying that, he kicks it up and switches to a left-hand grip.
Uh-huh.
I've never seen that in a movie before.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's like a real thing. Like that's what they would do. But I was like, I literally grabbed Breck where I was like, in all of the action shit I have seen in my life, how have I never seen somebody switch to the right hand for the right side of the hallway, the correct hand for the right side of the hall? It's one of those things that I've thought about and I've been like trying to learn how to like figure out how he did it. I was like, he had a strap on, but he swapped. It's crazy. I don't know why it's stuck in my brain so much.
No, but that's true though.
But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you're on the right side of a hallway, you need your left hand out so less of your body's exposed and you have a better maneuverability.
Yeah.
I've never seen it happen in a movie, and in that movie, he like swaps to the left shoulder and then like goes into the hall, and you're like,
man, that's sick as hell.
and then so, but dude, I can't stress enough that every time I'm watching a movie where a guy's got a gun now, I'm like, let's do it. Please, swap. Just because I love like weird, like whenever you're watching a group of people who are like incredible at a thing, who do it with like precision.
Yeah.
It's the same with heist movies. It's that part of it. It tickles that part of your brain where you're like, well, you guys are really good at your job.
Yeah.
It's the same shit with that, where I was just like, how have I never seen that before?
Yeah, that would definitely, the funny thing is, I think that leads into two like minor Roman empires for me, which is guys being good at their job movies that are also part of dad cinema.
Yes.
Like those two things, like the Air, Moneyball, heist movie men who are just good at doing their job cinema that like effortlessly flows into dad cinema. Like those two things are also minor Roman empires for me.
They're great.
Yeah.
I think about dad cinema I'd say dad cinema a lot in my life, and everyone's like, "What did you just say?" And I'm like, "Dad cinema. Look it
cinema.
up. Like,
It's a thing.
hard. It's amazing."
Yeah.
The other one of a recent movie for me is Dune 2.
Yeah.
Pretty much hard stop.
Just as a
Yes,
film
right?
Dune 2 is
but there's the specific moment where everyone talks about this scene, but he's like riding the sandworm for the first time, and it's the most epic thing I've ever seen. But the peak of that sequence, when it becomes the most epic thing I've ever seen, is a shot of his feet standing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you make that the climax of a sequence like this, where it's just a shot of his back 2 feet going flat and his knees extending?
Yeah.
I think about that shot every single day,
Yeah,
constantly. I'm like, how how is that the point where you pick the music to swell and the moment to blow up? Like, man, what?
Yeah.
So those two things from this year have like specifically been just things I cannot stop thinking about.
I completely agree with that. Like Dune 2 has been a constant rotation of thought in my brain. I cannot wait for it to come out on physical. It should be soon. It should be like
May. Yeah, May.
I cannot wait so I can watch it over and over and over again.
Bummer it's not getting the IMAX aspect ratio.
Oh, is it really not? That sucks.
There's a rumor they're going to do it later to just boost sales, but who knows if that'll actually happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, bummer on that, but yeah, those are my recent ones. And then the other one is so abstract and weird and makes no sense, and I understand it's dumb. It's never a problem when I watch a movie.
Yeah.
It never like ruins a movie because it's just film language is all it is. But have you ever been watching a movie?
I have.
And you're really into it?
That is also a case that
and then like towards the third act, there's a character who's going through some shit and they have to make a decision. And it starts flashing back to previous scenes from the movie.
Yeah.
But it's showing footage from the movie you've watched where you're like, wait, are they having memories of the scene we're watching?
Are they thinking this thing of the same composition?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's not a point of view.
Yeah, no, it's
That's so funny.
It is not a problem in movies. It never ruins a movie.
Fuck off. But that's going to ruin movies for me. I'm never going to be able to unsee that.
But it is just this like, and it's only ever when I'm really invested that I think about it, because it cuts to a flashback and it's this beautiful moment. I'm like, well, wait, is he remembering the shot from the movie or is he remembering the right? Which is, of course, he's thinking about the moment, and that's how you impart what he's thinking. I understand it's just film language.
Yeah.
It's just a tool in the editor's toolkit. That's all it is. But I can't ever help but be like, what if they shot it as a POV? The same moment, but as a POV. Would it be different? Would it feel weird? Or just from a different angle that wasn't in the movie, would it change? I think about it all the time, and I've thought about it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Isn't that so weird?
Yeah. No, like, you're right. even maybe not even a point of view, just going over the shoulder.
Yeah,
just going
something different.
Yeah, just a ever so slight, like, we're the shot that we saw from the movie is either, like a close on the actor in question or like a wide shot or something. But if we just cut that to an over the shoulder or a point of view or something, where it's like we're seeing their perspective on the situation, that would actually be kind of sick.
I guarantee movies have done it, and I'm sure I've seen some. I can't think of any examples though.
So here's my issue. Like, most of the time that I can think of scenarios like that, usually it's pretty lazy. Usually it's like, I don't trust my audience enough to remember the thing that happened an hour ago, so I'm going to have to show it to them.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Okay, and you know a version where this makes a lot of sense?
Yeah. What?
Creed.
Ooh, fascinating.
The scene in the first Creed, in the final fight when he gets knocked the fuck out, and he's having these flashes, some of them don't make sense. Some of them are too shot. Not that they don't make sense. I want to be clear. This is not me saying this doesn't work. They cutting to the shot of like Stitch falling over. Like, I don't think that's I think it's a great example of it working, but it's when they cut to that shot of Apollo and it's from the fights he's watched.
Yeah.
So the shot of it is like from a TV cam, so it makes perfect sense. That would be the angle on which he's thinking.
And see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think there's a cool version of that where it is we see the actual point of view, we see what they are remembering.
Yeah.
It would be even cooler if we saw that the way they saw it was different from the way that we saw it as the audience. Like, that's sick. Like, that's really cool. That's a cool idea.
But anyway, you're right. A lot of times it's used lazily. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's the ones that are lazy to me are when they pull up dialogue from previous scenes.
Yeah.
Like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, when they have the shot. They have this really brilliant shot of the mask in the water, and you see the reflection of half of his face in the mask, and then it cuts to he's like, "If you're nothing without that suit, then you don't." It's like, no, I got it. I understood it. You know what I mean? Like that is when I really don't like it.
Yeah.
When you're cutting to like a scene of a character thinking about something, especially in a moment of like you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing flashes of what they're thinking about. I don't hate that as much. It has been used very poorly before.
Yeah.
But I also don't hate it.
Yeah. I think there's a needle that needs to be threaded.
Yes.
And often people don't know how to thread needles that well.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to lick it. You know what I mean? And then like you really have to be really careful. You have to have a steady hand.
Thimble on to make sure there's no, the whole thing. Anyway, that is the Roman Empire for me. Where
that's a really good one.
It makes no sense.
No, it makes a ton of sense. Like that's, I'm so on board for you with this. Like I'm so 100% on board with this.
I think about it constantly, and it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
It's just a fascinating thing that I've thought. Again, since I was in like middle school, I've thought this. I'm
that's
like,
so funny.
Why was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
Yeah. All right, let's check the time here. We haven't been going very long. I can go long. Do you want me to go long?
I'm fascinated to hear what yours is.
Okay, so there's kind of 3 parts to this.
Amazing.
And one, like I will start with the history behind why I feel the way I feel about this very specific thing, and I'll go into a lot of opinions about that history. Bond songs.
Oh God, guys, get ready. This is gonna be one for the books.
Behind the scenes, we've been talking about doing this episode for a week or two at this point, and I mentioned like I can't wait to talk about mine, and Spencer's like, I don't know what you're gonna talk about, but I'm fascinated. I was like, oh, I'll say one word and you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That word is Bond songs, and I will get to the true Roman Empire. That being said, like I do think a lot about Bond music. I do think a lot about the history behind what makes a good Bond song.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different opinions about what a good Bond song is, about the difference between honoring tradition and pastiche, about listenability versus like good external listenability versus like how it fits within the movie.
Yeah.
Like I think there are a lot of people that put too much, and this is going to sound weird, that put too much emphasis on external listenability versus tradition. If you ask me, there is a pretty tried and true formula, and we don't love formulas in art, but there is an art to threading the needle between doing something that fits you as an artist, that fits the time period that you're in, and also fits being a Bond song. Because if you throw out one of those, you're gonna fail.
So is that Skyfall for you?
Being the perfect...
Being of the ones we've gotten, being the one that threads all those things?
Oh, I'll get to Skyfall.
Oh,
I'll get to Skyfall.
Okay.
We can do this one of 2 ways. Would you like me to go from beginning to end, history-wise, or my rankings of how I rank Bond songs? Because I will talk about the history no matter what.
History. Let's do history first.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to pull up a playlist of Bond music.
So many Bond songs.
Yeah, there's 25 or 24. Yeah. So the very first Bond song from Dr. No. It's the dun 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 dun. It's not lyric. I almost in my rankings I almost exclude it just because it isn't a Bond song in the way that we think of Bond songs. It's the James Bond theme.
Yeah.
It is his theme music. It isn't like a song of itself. So like I almost exclude it in my kind of like rankings. But the first lyrical one is Matt Monro from Russia with Love. This is in the early years of Bond songs, you can tell that they're trying to figure out what this means, like what a Bond song means. From Russia with Love is kind of different from what the Bond song would become. It's much more of a ballad. It's a lot lower tempo, but it is, however, beautiful.
Can I pause super quick?
Yes.
I have not seen that many Bond movies.
Yeah.
I've seen all the Craig ones and then a sporadic number throughout the eras. How many have you seen? Have you seen most of the Bond movies?
I've seen a lot of most of them. I haven't seen every single one in their entirety.
Okay.
But I have seen a lot of most of them.
Gotcha. Cool.
I've seen all of a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen every single one.
It's a deep dive I want to go on really bad.
So do I. Me doing the research for this made me super want to just go on a deep dive and watch all of them in a row.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, From Russia with Love. It's like lower tempo. but it is, you can see what they're trying to do with it, and it's a beautiful song, and I really, really like it. It's different from what the Bond songs would become, but I do think it is a great song and a great first try for a Bond song. And then we get the blueprint. Not only in the performer, but also the song.
Yeah.
Goldfinger, performed by Shirley Bassey. Like, that is the blueprint for what a Bond song is. As well as Shirley Bassey being the blueprint for what a Bond song performer is and should be. You get the powerful vocals, the sexy lyrics, the brass, the crescendo. That is such an important part of a Bond song to me, is the crescendo. And like is starting in a place, like, and letting, like, it if in and of itself is a story that you're telling, and so many people don't understand that piece of it. Like, I think not only is it a beautiful song that is listenable outside of the context, it is so of its time. It is so like 60s, while also being like, this is the thing that set the blueprint for it. Next, we get Thunderball with Tom Jones. Okay, here is part 2 of fascinating history with Bond songs. So, as some of you may know, many of you might not, multiple artists will create songs for a Bond movie, and then they'll pick between them. And you can, and so they went with Tom Jones' version of Thunderball, which is it's essentially just like, this is Tom Jones' version of Shirley Bassey's Goldfinger, which I'm okay with. Like, that is the correct, like, the Goldfinger set the precedent, and then Thunderball confirmed the precedent, if that makes sense. Like, it is the same kind of thing. So it's like, in many ways, like, Thunderball is responsible for like cementing what a Bond song should be. The fascinating thing is, one of the other artists that they got to create a song for it was Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash has that has been released. You can go listen to it.
Is it good?
It is on its own. Yes. It would have been a wild choice for a Bond song, because it's a mid 60s crooner kind of, I mean, it's not crooner, but like crooner country and western song. So it's like very like I can't remember the other artist's name, like out in the old west town of El Paso. It's very like, it's very 60s country and western. And that is not what I think of when I think of a Bond song. And so it's like, of itself, it's a good Johnny Cash song. It's just not a Bond song. So I can understand why they went with Tom Jones, who did, it is perfectly of its time. It honors the tradition set by Shirley Bassey at this point, and then also has that wonderful crescendo, has the powerful vocals. It's a great song. Fascinating to know that they didn't go with Johnny Cash, because again, it's like, it feels like them trying to choose between does the Bond song need to change every time? Yeah. Does it need to be different and kind of fit the vibe of the movie, or and that very much is the case, but like, should we try to have a similar vibe each time? And you can feel this is them confirming, no, it should have a pretty similar vibe each time. You Only Live Twice, Nancy Sinatra. Hot take, I don't love it. It's kind of, there isn't a lot of variety. I think Nancy Sinatra has a wonderful voice. She doesn't have the same power that Shirley Bassey, Tom Jones have. And so it feels very kind of flat, is a strong word, but it feels kind of flat, and it feels like it has the same tone. It just doesn't have that crescendo. It doesn't have that power that in my opinion, that you should have. The next one that we have is for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. We kind of have two. It has an instrumental one, and then there's Louis Armstrong did We Have All the Time in the World. And this is like the weirdest one for me, maybe, because it's like, it's just a song. Like, it isn't a Bond song. It's just a song that's in the movie. It feels weird. It doesn't feel like a Bond song. And like, Louis Armstrong feels a little bit past his prime at this point. Not my favorite. Diamonds Are Forever, Shirley Bassey again. Like, they're like, all right, come on. We know you're going to knock it out of the park. And indeed she does. Now, There's a saying that said, like, I don't know who said it, but James Brown made it okay for armpits to stink. And I think that is the case with Live and Let Die by Wings.
Yeah.
Live and Let Die by Wings is the song that made it okay to do something completely different. And that being said, they are the only ones who have done it completely different and knocked it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
It is a very Paul McCartney song, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot of like silly kind of like changes in it. That being said, Live and Let Die is one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah.
Of the like listenable outside of the context of the movie,
yeah.
Live and Let Die has to be like in the top 3, if not the most listenable outside.
Yeah.
Live and Let Die fucking rules. If you've seen that meme on TikTok where it's like Paul McCartney concerts and it's like Paul McCartney fucking explodes and it's Live and Let Die and it cuts on the explosion and then it just cuts right there.
That's really good.
Good meme. But yeah, Live and Let Die by Wings is like the song that made it okay to do something completely different.
Yeah.
The thing of it is it has so many of the structure does it right. Like, it has the crescendo, it has the big powerful sound, but it changes up the formula in a really, really cool way. The Man with the Golden Gun by Lulu. This one's okay. Like, this one's like utterly middle of the pack for me. This again feels like following Wings' example of trying something a little different, trying to go a little bit more rock and roll with it. My problem is it just doesn't have the power and it doesn't have the crescendo.
Yeah.
It's very Live and Let Die, and it just isn't a Bond song.
Yeah.
You know? It's a good one, utterly middle of the pack for me. Moonraker, Shirley Bassey again. Queen knocking it out of the park once again.
Moonraker's a weird Bond movie.
The 80s were a weird time for Bond movies and Bond songs in particular. Sheena Easton's For Your Eyes Only. This is not a Bond song. This is a Sheena Easton song. If you like Sheena Easton, that's fine. It's just not a Bond song.
Yeah.
It is a ballad. There's no crescendo. She just doesn't have the same power. Like, there's no sex appeal, in my opinion. Like, that, it might be a strong take, but it just doesn't have the sauce, man. It just doesn't have the sauce. And we continue kind of down this path for a few years. All Time High, Rita Coolidge, A View to Kill, Duran Duran, and The Living Daylights, Aha. None of these songs are Bond songs. They are 80s ballads and rock songs and pop songs. They're just not Bond songs. They don't honor the tradition set before them. Mm-hmm. They kind of change up the formula. License to Kill, Gladys Knight. Finally, we get Tina Turner, Goldeneye. She is the one who brought it back to the tradition while utterly making it a 90s Tina Turner track. And I love her for that because it's very like, it has the like 90s electronic feel while having the big, powerful, sexy brass and big, powerful voice, like the crescendo. Like, Tina Turner is very much sending up a Shirley Bassey Bond song. Like, she got it and like reset the tempo, if you ask me. Sheryl Crow, Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah. This has to be the one that I was most surprised by when I revisited. That song kind of shreds, man.
Dude, Sheryl Crow.
See, but Sheryl Crow feels like such a weird choice.
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, very strange. Although, divert. Slight interlude on another TikTok that Mike Flanagan made where he's talking about, he's like, somebody asked, do you enjoy making people cry? And he like holds up the jug of water and he's like, this is just from the Blind Man or Sheryl Crow song.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a jug of lesbian tears.
Yeah, it just says lesbian tears. He's like, this is just from that Sheryl Crow song.
It's good.
It's such a good TikTok. Another one you should look up. Anyway, continue. Sheryl Crow's amazing.
I honestly can't believe how much I enjoyed that one. Because it's like, again, it's like, it feels very of its time. It has the powerful crescendo. It is honoring tradition, but still has this kind of like a 60s kind of surf rock kind of vibe that I think is really cool. While again, like I'm surprised with how much I enjoy that one. Utterly listenable outside of the context of the Bond movie as well. The World Is Not Enough by Garbage. This one is an interesting one for me because It's very of its time, honors tradition. The thing that I don't think it has is the powerful vocals. I don't know the vocalist for the band Garbage. It feel like that is a Garbage song for sure. I'm mixed on this one. I do really like it, however. I just don't think it has the same power that I feel like you need in a Bond song. Okay, I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not, but Die Another Day by Madonna is my least favorite. It is bad. It is like, it is Madonna in I think her worst era, doing a Madonna song, and it is in no way a Bond song. It is like utterly electronic, utterly pop, no reference to anything coming before or after.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird choice. It's a weird song. You Know My Name, Chris Cornell. Balls to the Wall banger.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Balls
I
to the
really
wall
like
banger.
that one. Please don't shit on it.
Balls to the Wall banger. One of the like,
Underrated in my opinion.
Underrated. Like it is solidly in the top 10 for me.
Yeah.
Like, it is really, really, really good. I don't think it has the like tradition that so many other ones, but I understand the choice.
It's on my running playlist. It's just,
it's sick. The interesting choice here that they made was, with the new Bond, they were like, well, he's a bruiser. He, you know what I mean? Like he isn't as like, subtle. He's so they chose a rock singer. They chose a rock band and they made a rock song. It feels like a great adventure song.
I should also add at this point, I know with Craig, I don't know before Craig.
Yeah.
But I know that they would give the artists doing these the opening, like the cold opens for these movies. For Craig.
Yeah.
The Craig era, at the very least, they would give them the script pages for the opening so they could read it and decide what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I know Billie Eilish has talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's something they would do at least starting at the Craig era. So you watch the opening of that movie and then you hear the song and you're like, I know why they went that way.
It fits perfectly.
Yes.
It fits perfectly. So that's why I can't like, I don't want to knock it points for the tradition and the Chris Cornell's got a powerful voice.
I think in conjunction with the visuals of it does feel very Bond.
It feels very Bond. I absolutely love it. The next one is Another Way to Die by Jack White and Alicia Keys. Another one of my least favorites.
From also one of the worst Bond.
Yeah,
movies.
it's like it felt like they set the tempo of the rock songs for the Craig stuff, and they're like, okay, well, let's keep that up. And then I don't know, man. Like I like Jack White a lot. I like the White Stripes a lot. Let me put it that way. I don't love Jack White's solo stuff, and I feel like these are all of his worst impulses, and I feel like Alicia Keys and Jack White together, super weird choice.
Yeah.
Separate, I feel like separately either of them would have made a better song, but together it's very weird.
Yeah.
I will go into my list of alternate songs that have better alternate songs that didn't get chosen. This is one of them. Shirley Bassey did a song for this, and it would have been infinitely better had they done her song, but Jack White produced it, because it is very much a traditional Shirley Bassey. It's like it is big, powerful vocals, like orchestral, brassy. It just doesn't. It feels so completely different from what Chris Cornell did. If you had Jack White produce that song, keep the music, keep the lyrics, and have him produce it and sex it up and rock it up, that would have slapped so hard. Speaking of slapping so hard, I think the plutonic ideal of what a perfect Bond song is Skyfall by Adele.
Yeah.
The perfect confluence of artist, time, movie, song. Like it is the plutonic ideal of what a perfect Bond song is. It is the best one. I don't think there's any argument. Like, it is phenomenal. Utterly listenable outside of the context of the movie. Honors tradition, has the correct structure, powerful vocals, sex appeal. It's got it all. It fucking shreds.
Yeah. And
then now on to what is truly my Roman Empire. You know what? I'll do No Time to Die by Billie Eilish first. No Time to Die, Billie Eilish. Great.
It's
a little different. It's a little melancholy, great.
But the opening of that movie is so melancholy.
That movie is very melancholy.
Yeah.
Like I think it does enough to honor the tradition of the strings and the power and the crescendo. It understands all of that stuff and is very. It's a Billie Eilish song, listenable outside of the context. It's very, very good. It's in my top 10. It's very good. I really like that one. So Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith. I think Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith was an attempt to redo Skyfall and just isn't that. I think Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith is fine. I think it's utterly middle of the pack for me. I think it honors tradition. It doesn't have the same power because I just feel like Sam Smith, where they placed his vocals, like where his range is on the song, just doesn't have the same power. It's very soft and it's not sexy at all.
Yeah.
It is. I have my issues with the song. I think it's okay. It's
a very sexy opening though. The images, the title cards with all the octopuses and shit.
Oh yeah. And then you put Sam Smith's voice over it, like lilting over. It just doesn't work for me. Okay. Here's the reason why it is my Roman Empire. So Radiohead. Radiohead's one of my favorite bands. I know. I'm a white dude, a white straight guy who has a podcast whose favorite band is fucking Radiohead. I know. I'm a meme.
And he hates Creep.
I love Creed. What?
Creep.
I think you said Creed.
No,
I do
Creep.
hate you know who else hates the song Creep? Radiohead.
Yeah.
Radiohead was approached in 2015 about cutting the theme to Spectre and went for it despite being midway through recording A Moon-Shaped Pool, which is, is that their last record? Right? Yeah. Phenomenal record. They were halfway through recording that and then they got approached and they were like, it's a fucking Bond song. We got to do it. This is a quote from the producer of the record, Nigel Godrich. That fucking James Bond movie threw us a massive curveball. It was a real waste of energy. We stopped doing what we were doing and had to concentrate on that for a while since we were told it was something that was going to come to fruition. I haven't seen the movie, and I think they ended up with something more suitable for it. But in terms of making A Moon-Shaped Pool, it caused to stop right when we were in the middle of it. The end result of their efforts was a orchestral ballad that director Sam Mendes couldn't find a way to use. Allegedly, it was deemed too melancholy for the final product, which I think is funny because Sam Smith's Writings on the Wall is very melancholy. It isn't as melancholy.
Well, it's got a lot of horn and a lot of not like. That song is bigger than you remember, I think.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not big. When I'm using the word, it's not cool. It's not sexy. It is emotional. It's big emotions. But it's not. It is also melancholy. It isn't as melancholy as Radiohead's.
No. Yeah.
The director, being a fan, expressed interest in using the once-in-a-career gift elsewhere in the film, but it was decided the lyrics will be too distracting. So they wanted to use it in the song, but putting a lyrical song in the middle of the movie just felt wrong. And apparently they also said that the song came in too late for them to use. So I'm like, I don't know, pick a lane, because they said like 3 different things. It's like, we wanted to use it. It was too melancholy. We tried to use it somewhere, but it didn't fit. It also came in too late. It's like, pick one. Pick an excuse. In December 2015, the band shared it for free online as a Christmas gift to fans. And I could not imagine a better Christmas gift to me at a time where I needed it most. That December of 2015 was a bad one for me, folks. Tom York liked the song so much that he added it to the live repertoire for his solo shows. It is a phenomenal song. I love it dearly.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't disagree that it may not work super well as a Bond song. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think it's a phenomenal song, and I think it is better than Sam Smith's Writings on the Wall. But if that's how it went, I would have been okay with it. Because Writings on the Wall is fine. It fits better for the movie, I think.
Yeah.
I will cede that point. I think it fits better for the movie. I think Spectre is a phenomenal song. I love it very dearly. Ultimately, they went with Sam Smith's Writings on the Wall. With this song, I don't care about it charting and things like that. I just care about doing the legacy proud, said Sam Smith interviews after its release, adding that he was not even thinking about the Oscars. In my opinion, he kind of failed a little bit. Like, again, like, in terms of honoring the tradition, it's like, yeah, it has the orchestra, it has the brass and stuff, but again, it doesn't have the like power, the cool, I don't know. As you can tell, I think about this a lot. It received mixed reviews, especially when compared to other Bond theme songs. The mixed reception to the song led to Shirley Bassey being a popular topic on Twitter the day it was released. Sherlock creator Mark Gatiss said Bond themes rarely succeed when they pastiche. The best and most memorable are great songs, pure and simple. And I agree with that. Like, I feel like the thing that frustrates me about it is it doesn't feel like a Sam Smith song. It doesn't feel that Bond song. It feels like he's just trying to do Adele's Skyfall. Like, that is my ultimate frustration with it. Is like, you could have made it a Sam Smith song, or you could have made it like a more Bond song, but instead it's this kind of like weird doubling down on what Adele perfected with Skyfall. It's like, you're just not going to do that again.
Yeah.
In my opinion. The single became the first Bond movie theme to reach number 1 in the UK singles chart. It also reached top 10 in a few other European countries. Unlike other James Bond themes, it was not successful outside of Europe, or not as successful outside of Europe, which I think is interesting context. Like, I think that's interesting to know that it was that popular in like England, but like not that popular outside of Europe. I thought that was interesting. So then the movie went on to get nominated for Best Original Song. Like, not super surprising. Like,
No.
Bond songs, like, it almost feels like a shoe-in. The other nominees were Earned It for 50 Shades of Grey by The Weeknd. Racing Extinction or for the movie Racing Extinction, Manta Ray from Racing Extinction. I don't know any of these people. Simple Song number 3 from Youth, The Hunting Ground, the movie The Hunting Ground, Till It Happens to You by Lady Gaga. And then ultimately Writings on the Wall won, which I didn't like, because I thought Till It Happens to You was a better song and much more important song. And that being said, like, it's a tough song. It isn't exactly fun, so I don't think it like charted or anything like that. It was more important though, in my opinion. But Writings on the Wall won. It won the Oscar. Okay. I read in an article a few months ago by Sir Ian McKellen, and he said that no openly gay man had ever won an Oscar. And if that is the case, even if it isn't the case, I want to dedicate this to the LGBT community all around the world, Smith said. I stand here tonight as a proud gay man, and hopefully we can all stand together as equals one day. Elton John, Dustin Lance Black, Howard Ashman, and Scott Rudin were all openly gay men when they accepted their Oscars. Elton John and Howard Ashman both won Best Original Song Oscars, as have fellow openly gay artists Melissa Etheridge and Stephen Sondheim. I already had issues with this song, and then it feels so weird and congratulatory for this person to say, I'm not even thinking about the Oscars, to go up there and be like, I did this for the gay community. Like, I am the first one to do it. Like, okay, do your research, my dude. If that's a part of your Oscar speech, you have to do that research, my guy.
Yeah.
Like, one quick Google search could have solved that for you. Like, not only was he not the first, he wasn't even the first one in that category.
Yeah.
Honoring the LGBT community, here for it. We love the LGBT community. It's just weird and congratulatory and like back patting for him to be like, I did it, guys. I did it. Me, Sam Smith. I'm like, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And ever since then, I have not been able to look at that dude the same since. Because it's just like, man, like, do your research, read the room. Why do you have to make it about you? And also, you know what I mean? Like, and like, look, I don't blame Ian McKellen for getting that wrong because he's just doing an interview for, you know, as part of like a press junket or whatever. Like, okay, he said it off cuff. All right. He could have, should have, would have done his research better, but I don't know when that interview came out. But then doing just reading the headline and going, I'm going to mention this in my speech, man. Even after saying that he wasn't thinking about the Oscars. Oh, it just drives me nuts. So yeah, that is my that's my thoughts. That is my true Roman Empire, is how they utterly bungled it and Radiohead. I'm gonna let you keep going, but Radiohead had one of the best had one of the best Bond songs ever written. No, like, but for real, like they had one of the best song. Was it the best Bond song? Maybe, maybe not. Was it a better song? Yes. Did it deserve more recognition? Yes. Did Writings on the Wall deserve what it got? I don't know, man. I don't know. But then I think they have, after that, you know, with Billie Eilish's No Time to Die, better song, more appropriate for the artist, while also still trying to honor the tradition. So yeah. Would you like to hear some of my other choices for songs that I think were better than the ones that they chose?
Yes, I would.
The other rejected ones. Julie Rogers did a version of You Only Live Twice that they went with Nancy Sinatra's. I think Julie Rogers is way better. She isn't as big of a name as Nancy Rogers, or not Nancy, as Nancy Sinatra. But I think the song is a better Bond song. Has a crescendo. She has a much more powerful voice. That one I think is way, 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 way cooler. The Man with the Golden Gun, they went with Lulu's, but Alice Cooper did a version. And man, it shreds. I kind of get why they went with Lulu's. It's a very Alice Cooper song. I mean, like, when you get the dude who wrote the song Dead Babies, you're going to get a weird song. And it's like, look, it's a Bond song. I think it's more of a Bond song than Man with the Golden Gun is, but it's like, it's a weird song, but I do really like that song. Blondie, For Your Eyes Only. They went with Sheena Easton's, and I don't care for Sheena Easton's. I think Blondie's was way better.
Yeah.
Like it was a much higher tempo, had much more of a crescendo. Like I think it got the assignment more. I'm not really sure why they went with Sheena Easton's. The Living Daylights, they went with Aha's, but the Pet Shop Boys did a version. Now, in my opinion, I think Aha's and Pet Shop Boys are pretty similar in terms of like quality for me. But it would have been it's a very different song than what Aha did, and it's not a very good like Bond song, but I do enjoy the song itself better. It's an interesting Pet Shop Boys. Like, it's just weird some of the artists that they've chosen. The other kind of big one for me is like what I mentioned earlier, Quantum of Solace. Shirley Bassey did a song, but it said they went with Jack White and Alicia Keys. I don't like the Jack White and Alicia Keys song. I do really, really, really wish that Jack White just would have produced Shirley Bassey's version. Like, that would have been dope. Like, I actually think that would have been sick. And then last, one I think is really interesting is Muse did a version of Skyfall. They did it's I think it's called Supremacy, and they released it.
Muse feels like a very good band to do a Bond song,
and it feels like them trying to continue the lineage of the rock artists, like getting rock bands to do it. But Skyfall's the best.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get why they didn't go with Muse. But holy shit, that song shreds.
Yeah.
It's very much a Muse song, but it, like, again, it has the crescendo, it honors it gets what a Bond song needs to be, and it absolutely shreds. So yeah, if you haven't heard it, go listen to Supremacy. I don't remember what album it's off of. But man, that one's a good one. It's like, look, I understand, like, it's Skyfall. You got to go Skyfall. But Supremacy by Muse is also very, very good. So yeah, that's my very long-winded take. I have a playlist of all of my favorite Bond songs ranked. I will put that in the description of this video so you can see. I put Dr. No at the very end of the playlist, not because I don't like it, but because it feels out of place. It doesn't feel right to put, because again, it's not lyric. It's a very different thing. It's like that is that's James Bond's theme. It's not necessarily like a Bond song. Exactly. So yeah, that's my Roman Empire. I don't know if you could tell. I think about it a lot.
He does. It's been years of having this conversation.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out if you haven't heard Spectre by Radiohead, go and listen to it.
It is a very good
song.
song.
Song is so good. It is so good. Yeah. Anyway,
Roman Empire. What's your Roman Empire?
I would honestly love to know. Yeah, comments down below, wherever you're watching or listening. I would be fascinated.
What is your movie-related Roman Empire that you can't stop thinking about or won't let go of?
Yeah. I would love to hear you.
Or have done an obsessive amount of research over. And, you know what I mean? Like, what is it? I'm fascinated.
Yeah. If you have disagreements on my rankings, I would also love to know that too. I would honestly love to hear if people do like Sheena Easton's and Gladys Knight's and that just that 80s era, just if that's like y'all's favorite shit, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear why. I'd love to hear what you think a perfect Bond song is.
And you know where you can put that? In the comments.
In the comments.
Now smash that like button.
Fucking smash that fucking like button. Hit that subscribe button.
We are What Is Us. Good night. It's over.
Should we cut there?
Should we?